We are here to learn Science 1 and the topic is reflection of light. Myself, Amruta Dhadge from Khernagar Municipal Secondary English Medium School. So today we are going to see reflection of light. It's just the basic revision for the lesson reflection of light, in which we are going to see two major contents, mirrors and types of mirrors. Then we are going to see spherical mirrors and images formed by them. So while studying reflection of light, studying nature of light is very important, because without light, reflection cannot take place. So light is the essential unit for reflection, a essential thing for reflection. So what basically light is, you can just see a light, okay? You can't touch it, but your eyes can see the light, okay? So what this basically light consists of, a form of energy which enables us to see. It makes us things visible. In a dark room, you cannot see any object, but when light comes inside that room, all the objects inside the room are visible. Okay, so how this light travels? It travels in a straight line unless until any object comes in between that, the path of the light travels in a straight line. Now it travels at a very high speed. So the speed is 3.0 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second in vacuum. It is emitted by luminous sources such as sun, stars, candles, lamps, etc. So these are the sources of light. Okay, sun is the major source of light. Stars that we see at night in the sky are a source of light. Okay, it makes us things visible in the darkness. Okay, candles is a source of light. The lamps which we have inside our homes, in our streets, those are all sources of light. Now what this light consists of, when we pass a ray of light through a prism, we see all these features. We observe all these features of light. White light is a mixture of 7 different colors, namely red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Light is a transverse wave and forms part of electromagnetic spectrum. These things you have studied in your earlier standards, and we are just revising it. Okay, now sources of light. As I said before, sun is the major source of light. So you can see the sun, and because of the sun, everything becomes visible to us. Our day starts from a source of light, that is sun. All objects that we see are sources of light, even if they do not produce light themselves. Okay, objects that produce light are said to be luminous. Sun, burning candle, light, bulb, flash of lightning. During thunderstorms or during this rainy weather, you can observe the flash of lightning, okay, which has light in itself, and it emits. So these are the sources of light. Now, what are artificial sources of light? As from the word artificial, we come to know that these are man-made sources. Okay, we have learned in our previous standards, those all things which we term as artificial, those are man-made. So artificial sources of light are those that are produced and controlled by humans. Car headlights, neon signs, flashlights, televisions. Okay, so these are all controlled by humans, and they are artificial sources of light. You can see the neon lights, the board written, the picture on the screen, and the burning fire which is giving light to all the children, those who are sitting in dark. They are sitting at night, but the source of light for them is the burning light in front of them. Some of the sources of light, such as burning wood, may be classified as both natural and artificial. Let's move on further. Now, these are some basic questions which makes our concept clear about the concept of light. What is light? Light or visible light commonly refers to electromagnetic radiations that can be detected by the human eye. Okay, only human eye can detect its presence. You cannot feel it, you cannot touch it. Okay, so only one sense, that is the eyesight, can this sensory organ can sense light. So what is meant by reflection of light? Reflection is when light bounces off an object. Okay, so please try to understand these lines and the meaning of light and the reflection of light. So what is light? Light is electromagnetic radiation. And when reflection of light takes place, when these lights, they are passing in a straight line, and when they hit a object, okay, and they have obstacles in between them. So that creates the phenomenon of reflection of light. Okay, so what basically happens? A light falls on an object and it bounces back. Try to visualize these things so that this lesson will become easier for you all. I hope the concept of light and reflection of light is cleared by these two questions. Hello. So now we will study a very interesting object which we use in our daily life, and that is mirror. Okay, we can't live without mirror because we have to see ourselves in the mirror. So what is this mirror which we have at our homes? So this mirror is a simple mirror which is actually a plain glass which is silver plated. Okay, it is nothing but a plain glass and which is having a silver plating at its back end. So can we make mirrors? Yes, we can make mirrors. How? Plain glass provides the smooth surface and silver coating makes it shiny. So now, if you have observed a glass of water at our homes, which we usually have a glass, uh, the glass is transparent. We can see the level of the water from outside, how much it is filled, okay, or any vessel which is made up of simple glass. But what is the difference between a glass and a mirror? So a mirror is having a silver coating at its back end, and that silver coating makes it shiny. A mirror is made by coating of a flat, the back surface of the flat plane mirror and smooth glass piece with a thin. Okay, so reflecting film of aluminium and silver is used. So remember what is used to make a glass? A mirror. Okay, a thin reflecting film of aluminium and silver. To protect this reflecting film and to make that side opaque, now the opposite word for opaque is transparent. Okay, so the glass which we use for drinking water is transparent, while the mirror in front of which we stand is opaque. I hope you understand the word opaque. Okay, is opaque, another coat of a substance like lead oxide is given over it. So all the mirrors consist of a thin reflecting film of aluminium and silver and a lead oxide which makes it a mirror. students should write the important points which they feel that they are important, or something new which they are learning right now. Just write those points in your notebooks so that it will be easy for you to recall. More about mirrors we are going to see. We need polished surfaces for reflecting light, and this is because polished surfaces absorb less light, and so maximum light gets reflected. Now, if you have observed this, that if you place a light in front of a mirror, the light is reflected brightly. Okay, it brights the room very much because the plane mirror does not absorb any of the light. Okay, the level of absorption of light in plane mirrors is very less, so maximum light they try to reflect, and due to that, when a bulb is placed in front of the plane mirror, the light is reflected in multiples and the room is brightened. So in scientific language, a surface which reflects light and creates clear images is called a mirror. So what we call it in scientific language, a surface which reflects light and creates clear images. Okay, they are not distorted. They are not different. Whatever object is standing in front of the mirror, exact image is obtained in our mirror. I hope the concept of mirrors and the nature of light is clear by now. So this is what happens in front of the mirror. What takes place? A reflection takes place when you stand in front of the mirror. Can you see a boy standing in front of the mirror and an exact same image of the boy in the mirror? So this phenomenon is called as reflection in plane mirrors. Now, what happens inside mirror? Okay, we are going to see it scientifically, what this phenomenon is called. But have you observed this when you stand in front of the mirror? You raise your right hand, but in the mirror, it seems that you have raised your left hand. Try to figure out when you stand in front of the mirror, when you raise your right hand, it seems in the image that you have raised your left hand. This is just to increase your curiosity while learning this interesting topic, that is reflection of light. We are going to see in our successive slides that why this happened and what this phenomenon is called. But I just want you to observe it, that does this happen it with you? Or have you ever observed this, that when you raise your right hand, it seems that you have raised your left hand in the image? So let's see what happens actually in the image and why this phenomenon take place in scientific way. So what plane mirror does, the image is upright. Now how you will see that the image is upright or not? You can see the head of the person and the head of the image. Both are in the same direction. Okay, so the image is upright. The image is the same size as you are. Okay, the size of the person doesn't change in the image of the mirror. Okay, as it is, you can see the same person in the image. The image is located as far behind the mirror as you are in front of it. Okay, now this happens if you observe it, that what it seems that someone is standing behind the mirror. Okay, what the image makes us feel that someone is standing behind the mirror, but you are standing in front of it. Now, this is the conceptual example of full length versus half length mirror. Okay, now we are going to discuss the length of the mirror in these figures. Okay, what is the length of the mirror? So in figure, a woman is standing in front of a plain mirror. So what is the minimum mirror height necessary for her to see her full image? Okay, so we have mirrors of different lengths, different types. You must have observed you have a hand mirror which you can take in your hand and you can observe uh, your image in that mirror. So if you have a small mirror, will the mirror be able to give your full image? And if not, what is the height of the mirror, required height of the mirror, so that a person when stands in front of the mirror can see its full image from head to toe? Okay, that is the full image. So what is this height of the mirror? This we are going to see. So scientifically, what should be the height of the mirror so that we are able to see our full image right from the head till the toe? So what your first diagram depicts? First diagram depicts that only head of a person, H and E, head and eye of the person is seen in the mirror, which is a very small mirror. Whereas in the second image, you can see the woman standing in front of the mirror and she is able to see her whole image from the head to the toe in the mirror. So isn't it interesting to find out that what should be the minimum height of the mirror, which are situated in everybody's home? So what should be that specific height? So here we go. This is our scientific statement. In order to see full image of a person standing in front of the mirror, then minimum height of the mirror must be half the height of the person. How much height is required of the mirror? Exactly half height is required. Okay, I'll repeat the statement once again. Listen it carefully and try to visualize it. In order to see full image of a person, what we want to see? We want to see a full image of a person standing in front of the mirror. So what is the height of the mirror? Then minimum height of the mirror must be half the height of the person. Okay, it must be exactly half the height of the person. Now in the above diagram you can see M and N is the mirror. You can see the tilted lines, small lines. Okay, from the letter M till the capital letter N is the mirror. Okay, A, B is the height of the person. A is the head, B is the feet. You can see some rays are passing. We are going to study these rays. But what happens inside the mirror? You can see that the image A1, B1 gives the full image of a person. As usual, we have our mirrors fitted on the walls. So CD is the wall, okay, and MN is the mirror situated on the wall. Just observe, AB is the image and A dash, B dash is the image observed of that person. Okay, so let's move further towards our main topic, that is types of mirror, and the whole lesson moves around this. Okay, what we are going to study in our whole mirror reflection of light lesson, we are first going to see the types of mirror, which are basically classified into plane mirrors and spherical mirrors. And spherical mirrors are again classified into two types, that are concave mirrors and convex mirrors. We are just having a overview of this lesson. I have left behind some curiosities so that you will find those answers. You will go behind it, and some of your questions answers will be given in this lesson itself. What happens in the plane mirror? You are standing in front of the mirror, and it seems like your twin is standing behind the mirror. Okay, this is the view of a plane mirror. Your image and you are identical. But something different happens in spherical mirrors. Spherical mirrors are not same as the plane mirrors. Okay, as the name spherical says, spherical, it gives us an idea that it must be a curve. Okay, it must be a curve. Now observe these two curves, where concave mirror and convex mirror is written at the bottom of these two curves. You can see two things are marked on these curves. First is hard surface and second one is the reflective surface. Both the surfaces are different in both types of mirror. In concave mirror they are different, and in convex mirror they are different. Okay, just observe the shaded region. The shaded region, blue shaded region, is the reflective surface. When it is present inside the curve, it is called concave mirror. And when it is present outside the curve, it is called convex mirror. Observe this diagram for a while. Take a time, take a minute to understand the difference between the concave mirror and a convex mirror. What is the difference? The reflective surface for concave mirror is present inside the curve, while for convex mirrors, they are outside the curve. If you understand this diagram very well, these types of mirrors and their two types, it will be very easy for you to understand the whole lesson and the concepts based on these mirrors. So let's move further. Now we are here to see how to study how the image is formed in the mirror. So this is the normal thing, normal plane mirror. So what happens? Rays falling on the mirror normal to its surface. We see a clear image of ourselves when we stand in front of a mirror in the house. To understand how the image is formed in a mirror, let us first consider an image formed by a point source. Light travels in all directions from such a source. Several of these rays fall on the mirror, get reflected, and reach our eyes. Due to reflection, they appear to come from the point behind the mirror. That point is the image of the point source. Okay. Now, what is a point source? You can see the incident ray. It is different. Three incident rays are given. They are just for a single point source. A point is there in front of the mirror. Okay. Now, when it is a plane mirror, the image will also be a point. But what happens? An incident ray path falls on the mirror, and on the same path, the reflected ray is reverted back, and we are able to see a point in the mirror, and which appears that the point is coming from behind the mirror. Just try to understand this diagram as well. How they have shown the plane mirror. Just a single line is drawn to show a plane mirror. Okay. Now, the rays falling on the mirror are incident rays. And the rays reflected back from the mirror, which are detected to our eyes, is called as a reflected ray. The arrows tell us whether the ray is incident ray or the ray is reflected ray. But you can see that both the arrows fall on the same ray, because the incident ray, when falls on the mirror, the reflected ray passes through the same ray. It is reflected on the same path. Okay. So this is the simple phenomenon of the plane mirror when the point source is standing in front of the mirror. I hope you understand. If you are not able to understand, go through the textbook, okay, and just find the diagram and try to understand the diagram. Because if you understand the diagram, you are able to write in the exams. After this, we are going to see image of a point source formed by a mirror. Incident rays get reflected according to the law of reflection. Now, the law of reflection, which you have studied last year, was the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal lie in the same plane. When these reflected rays are extended back behind the mirror, they meet at I. When we see from E, the ray appear to be coming from O, thus point I is the image of the object O. The reflected rays do not actually meet, hence such an image is called virtual image. The perpendicular distance of the image from the mirror is equal to the perpendicular distance of the source from the mirror. So what happens? You can see the object O in the figure given. M and M dash is the plane mirror. A straight line having some tilted lines behind it is usually drawn to depict a plane mirror. So M and M dash, the whole line is a plane mirror. You can see a point source, object O, a black dot, which is in front of the mirror. And the small tilted lines, as they depict backside of the mirror, you can see the formation of the image eye behind the mirror. I'm going very slow so that you can observe this in the figure given. The diagrammatic representation helps us to clear the concept. So try to read those diagrams so that it will be easy for you. Okay, so from the object O, two rays are falling, that is OA and OB, which are the incident rays as they are forming from the object to the mirror, they are incident rays. Okay, so OA and OB are incident rays. And what are the reflected rays? You can see the IE, the capital letter E written, okay, for the eye which is there in front of the mirror. AX and AY are the reflected rays. A dark line which is drawn at A and B, which is perpendicular to the plane mirror, is normal. And as we have learned from the laws of reflection that an incident ray, when makes an angle with the normal, it is called an incident angle, which is depicted by I. So for the first ray, they have written I1, and the second angle OAX is I2. Then the law also says that the reflected ray, when makes an angle with the normal, that which is called as reflected angle, that is depicted by R1 and R2. Try to locate R1 and R2. You can see 2 points A and B on the plane mirror. When they are extended back by the dotted lines, they converge, they meet each other, they intersect at the point I, and where we get the image of our object. Okay, now what they have said in the third point, the perpendicular distance of the image from the mirror is equal to the perpendicular distance of the source from the mirror. Okay, so if you draw a line from the object O, straight line from O on the plane mirror M, and from the plane mirror M towards the capital letter I where the image formation is done, you will get that these two perpendicular distances are equal, they are same. Okay, so this is all about the image of a point source formed by a mirror. So here we have learned the basic concept of virtual images. Why this image is called virtual images? Because the reflected rays do not actually meet. Okay, are they intersecting themselves in front of the mirror? No. As well as they are not intersecting behind the mirror. But when we extend those lines, we get that they intersect somewhere and the image is formed there. Okay, so the reflected rays do not actually meet. Hence, such an image is called virtual image. Now, this is image of the extended source formed by a mirror. Now, the extended source is pen over here, and we have taken few points on that pen, 3 on the top, 1 from the tip. Again, you can see the object and the virtual image. Now, when the word virtual comes, it should come in your mind that the reflected rays do not actually meet. But when they are extended, they meet somewhere behind the mirror. So the image is called as virtual image. Always remember this scientific terms of the virtual image. What is meant by virtual image? If we use extended source instead of a point source, an image is formed of every point of the source. Every point's image is formed of the source, thereby forming an extended image of a whole source. Okay, so that each point comes together and the whole source you can see, the image of the whole source you can see behind the mirror. Please try to read between the lines so that it will be easy for you people to understand this lesson. The image formed by a plane mirror is of the same size as the source. Now, this sentence has been repeated as many times as we have seen the image formation in plane mirrors. Always try to compare this with your home mirrors because they are also plane mirrors. Now you can see similar lines are drawn. First point goes till the first point at the top, the topmost line and the extended line both have same distance. So you can see one dash is present on both the sides, two dashes are present perpendicular to those lines, three dashes are present, which depicts that the distance of the object and the virtual image from the mirrors are same. Now we are going to see why it happens. Just compare this with the question which we have raised before, that why it happens when you raise your right hand, it seems that you have raised your left hand in the image. Okay, so similarly, your letters also undergo some lateral inversion. Okay, you can see E when it is reflected, what happens to that E? You can see the alphabet C, you can see the alphabet N and R as well. Okay, some letters from those 26 alphabets undergo this lateral inversions, while you can use your common sense and you can try to visualize if O undergoes lateral inversion. Will the alphabet O undergo lateral inversion? No, it will not undergo. Okay, so some letters are there which undergo lateral inversion. So images of a word appear laterally inverted in the mirror. The image of every point on the word is formed behind the mirror at the same distance from the mirror as the point itself. So what this phenomenon is called? This is called lateral inversion. Now we are going to see the best example of lateral inversion which we observe in our day-to-day life. The word ambulance is written laterally inverted on the ambulance itself. But when we see this letter, this word in our side mirrors, what happens? We see it correctly written ambulance. Okay, we are able to read the letter. We are able to read the words. So this is the best example of lateral inversion. Now these are some laughing mirrors. Now this is the quest of hunger to you all to know why such images are formed in the mirror. And these are called laughing mirrors if you know. So you have to study why such kind of images are formed. So I just want to go through the examples of concave mirror and convex mirror, which is essential for you people to understand and memorize. So a best example of concave mirror is solar furnace, and while that for convex mirror is side mirror of your car, of your vehicle. Again, I'll go through the definition. The inner surface of the spherical mirror is the reflecting surface, and then it is called as concave mirror. So you can visualize the first bifurcating diagram which we have seen, that the curved part, the reflecting surface was inside. Okay. When it is inside, we say that it is concave mirror, and the example for that is the solar furnace. For convex mirror, the outer surface is the reflecting surface, and the example is side mirror of the vehicle. Now, this is the best example which you can observe in your home itself. Now also you can observe the inner part of a spoon. Okay, you can consider it as a concave mirror, best example so that you can remember, and the outer part is a convex mirror. Hope you people understand today the difference between concave and convex. So these are some examples of concave mirrors. What is the example? Telescope is the example. Laughing mirrors are the example of concave mirrors. I have given a short zoomed overview of the telescope. What consists in the telescope is concave mirrors are present. You can see the curved surface inside, a gray shaded curved surface at the bottom of the hollow tube. These are uses of convex lens and uses of concave lens. Where the convex is used, convex glasses is used in magnifying glasses, in microscopes. The spy holes on the doors, in which we observe that who is coming in inside our home, or who is ringing our doorbell. All those spy holes consist of concave mirrors. The flashlight also consists of concave lens. The torch, which we usually identify by saying torch. Okay, so they are scientifically called as flashlights. Okay, so just a question to recall. How will you find out if a mirror is concave or convex? How will you differentiate between them? What is the difference between them? You just have to see the reflecting surface. When a mirror is held close to the face, it gives vertical and larger image of the face. If the same mirror is taken far away from the face, the image gets smaller and smaller. Such mirror is called as concave mirror. In convex mirror, what happens? The image of the face is erect and smaller, and it remains erect but becomes smaller and smaller when the mirror is taken away from the face. Thus, we can determine the nature of the mirror by studying the images produced by them. Okay, so this is the major difference. You can see a note. Vertical means the images which is straight, and erect means the image is straight and appears to be tall. Okay, so hope you understand the difference between concave and the convex lens. So what all things you are going to do today? You are going to just observe what is concave and what is convex. You are going to observe things by standing in front of your plane mirrors. If you are able to do, you can write alphabets on your plain paper, and you can observe the phenomenon of lateral inversion which takes place. Just write bold capital letters A, B, C, and see what lateral inversions happen in the mirror. Do you find the same alphabet in the mirror image? So that these concepts will be very clear for you all. I hope you understood everything which is taught now for the reflection of light. If not, please read the books, go through it again and again, because some words are scientifically different named. Okay, those concepts are new to you all. So just go through it once, twice, thrice. Try to read between the lines, and you will be able to grasp the given topic. And always remember, practice makes man perfect. So keep on practicing those diagrams, which will help you to make perfect in your lessons, in your concepts, in your topics.